Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the What the Football channel. This is the BH and Scrubber Show. And on today's show, we're going to recap that win against the Atlanta Falcons. A win is a win is a win. And join us probably next Saturday for some housekeeping here. Next Saturday, we will do a New York Giants preview show. And then, of course, on Sunday, join us right here on this channel for the live stream, live reaction, play-by-play show. It's always a lot of fun. So, the recap show, BH, pretty good game. We won, dirty in some places, looked good in other places. What'd you think?
Yeah, like you said, a win is a win. Yeah, it was an odd game, like we were talking about earlier. I mean, didn't they double their yardage on us? I mean,
Easily.
it was
Plus.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and so there was that sort of bend but don't break thing going. I was watching a lot of I watched some all 22, and then I kind of just rewatched the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like the plan was that was sort of the plan going in, bend but don't break. I don't think they wanted to give up that much yardage through the air. It just worked out that way. But I think they went in to stop the run. I think that's what they were going to say. We'll make Desmond Ridder beat us, because we did a great job on run. I mean, they have two good running backs. Pro Football Focus ranks their O-line as the number 6 O-line in the NFL. Yeah, and we kind of stuffed those guys. So it worked in that we forced Ridder to throw, and boom, we capitalized, got those turnovers. I just think we didn't expect them to move that well and that much. So, that's kind of stuff you have to clean up going forward, because, if that's going to be your game plan again against somebody to really sell out for the run, it's incumbent upon the DBs and all to stick with their men closer, run their zone schemes tighter. We can't really have them going crazy between the 20s and then hope we'll get a turnover. I mean, but it worked out really good.
I will say part of that, though, is put on the offense. Those 3 and outs just put your defense back on the field. It's not their fault. In order to help that, you need the offense to generate some kind of drive to keep our defense off the fucking field. So, which they did not do.
Yeah. And D did really good. I mean, it's sort of like the way we want him to do things. It was very simplified in a way. We lost the 2 safeties.
Yep.
So Percy Butler played every snap. Cam Curl played every snap. And so what they were doing was they basically had Kaliki Hudson coming in, and then Quan Martin came in on a few. And so it was a choice between pulling Danny Johnson out on certain things, and or pulling Jamin out in certain areas. But other than that, man, everyone played. The main core guys played a lot of snaps, and Kaliki looked really good. Him playing up on the line, snaking around, snagging some guys. I think he had the big. I forget. I think it was him and maybe Jonathan Allen had the big stop together. Stuffed them. So it was kind of cool. It was sort of on the goal line. Yeah. So it was sort of a simplified D. Like, your core player is going to play a ton of snaps, and we're just going to rotate guys in and out. So that was fun to see. I think right now Duran and Jonathan Allen are still playing a ton of snaps. So FA got in there. John Ridgway had a lot of snaps. So they did get their breaks. Be interesting if Federian comes back, because it'd be nice to drop them down. To still be effective, but not to just run them out there like 80% of the time. I mean, they're running some high snap counts, and they're good players. Don't get me wrong, but it'd be nice to sort of get Federian back. And FA, that was his first game back. He played about 30-something snaps, so maybe FA can up his snap count a bit and do good. But overall, we're pretty happy with the D. I know it was Forbes' first game on the bench. I don't think that's a bad thing. Maybe they'll start to integrate him going forward, let him come back in certain plays, nickel packages. I don't know. But it certainly was an improvement. They gave up a lot of passes, but it just didn't seem like it was out of control like before.
And
you
we're
know.
still giving up 100 yards, 110, 120 yards to teams as number one passers. And we can just cut that down a little bit. We'll be doing better. So,
Yeah. So just one guy I would say on the defense. We can talk about the offense a little bit after this. Maybe it was Cody Barton had a fantastic game, dude.
mm-hmm.
I mean, he was like our the fifth highest graded player on the team.
Wow,
Number 5.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, and he was like point 0.5 from being the fourth. I mean, it was close. He and it was, I don't know what the hell happened, dude. Because I could tell you in Pro Football Focus, Cody's way down there,
Mm-hmm.
and also believe it or not, his run game defense is worse than his pass game. They actually give him a slightly better in passing, so he's getting, I mean, he must be, getting washed out, late to the hole, late to react, all that stuff. Well, he had an 81 something
Wow.
run game D, dude. Yeah, like more than doubled it in one game. And here's another thing. Like people were excited about Kaliki, and he played really good, and I love it. I think it's great. But I'm saying, well, what about Cody? Because if you play 10 snaps and you play 8 out of 10 pretty good, well, you're going to get a pretty good rating, right? Well, if you're out there for 78 snaps, guess what? A whole lot can go wrong, dude. Where, you're going to miss a few and then watch your score drop. But Cody, I just hope it's not an anomaly. I hope like the light went on in his head and he got it, because all of a sudden he was in there. And I know he had the one play where he got hit with the roughing, and that's the standard. Everyone does it. You come in, you're in, and what you're trying to do is block.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to block that pass, and you make that mistake, you follow through, and what do?
Club him right in the helmet.
It's not vicious. It's not malicious. I don't even think it falls under roughing. I don't think that's what roughing is meant to be, but it doesn't matter. Right. Everyone knows that's the rule. Yeah. You just got to be careful when you're coming down to try and block it that you don't.
You can't hit a quarterback's in the helmet.
Head.
You can't touch a quarterback's helmet.
Yeah.
That's a no-no.
Right. And that was not his intention at all, man. He thought he was so, he got so high up. It was pretty hilarious. He got in there so quick, got up quick, but it was too late. But anyway, it was
bad play. It was a bad play on his part, because it was like a 3rd down and a 7, and we were squeezing them, and it was just, and it was an incomplete, and it would have brought up 4th down. So that was the bad part about him getting called on that play. So.
But if he's not in there and in his face, it's, you know what I mean? That's why it was incomplete. Because he was backpedaling, and then Cody was, and he just went, what? He just chucked it, Whereas Sam Howell would have taken the sack.
Yeah, I know. God. Lord.
So anyway, I don't know overall, I know the bend but don't break is frustrating. Because you're relying too much on the turnovers. You know what I mean? So anyway, but I was proud of Cody for maybe he is finally. They put him in for 100% of every snap. We said last week, we don't understand it, but they must see something. They're not, they're not just gonna, look, they proved with Forbes, they're not going to leave a guy in there who can't get the job done.
Right.
They proved that, hey, that guy's got to go, but they keep sticking with Cody Barton. So maybe what we saw in that game is what they see in practice every day. And this is just a guy who never really has been on the field much. He's a special teams guy. And so now he had his first chance. He's in the middle. He's got the green dot. He's got all that responsibility, calling formations, calling out plays, keeping guys set right. So there's a lot of mind stuff that goes on when you're that guy with the green dot. Jamin talked about that last year. There's a lot more than you think. It's not just playing the game physically. So anyway, if that guy can turn it around, that'll be huge.
Well, I thought a lot of what helped him too is we had a lot of 5 men down on the line. There was a lot of John Ridgway play and stuff like that. So that might not be so much that Cody Barton has improved, but it could be that because of the way they do the lineup when they're trying to stop the run, that he can do better because of that particular setup. If you've got one more guy down on the D line, well, there's less things that he's got to worry about. And so he's able to concentrate on the play more. So that might be part of it too. And they had Ridgeway was in there a lot. So I remember seeing
Yeah.
him like on many, many, many downs. And so I think that probably helped Cody a lot too. The other thing that's a job saver for him too is he does wear the green dot. Who else is going to do it? Who are you going to replace him with? David Mayo? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like he gets the job by default only because there is not another person. And so, but I will give Jack Del Rio, kudos for that, the way he was running some of his defensive schemes. So, trying to keep the Pitts in check, try and keep London in check as best as you can. But they held Bijan in check. They held Algiers in check. They did a good job there. And kudos to all the rotating guys that they brought in. Everybody they rotated in, only played so many snaps. Quan only played 7 or 8 snaps. Kalik only played maybe 10 snaps. Hill only played like 18 snaps. They're not playing a lot of snaps, but they had a high percentage of impactful plays. And so that was the key, in my opinion, to that game was that. And I thought Danny Johnson played good. So there's a lot of names that you didn't normally see on the defense making high impact plays and getting out there and making sure things got done. We got the 3 interceptions was really good. I think what the defense did for us, because our fledgling offense, and we'll get them coming up, but our defense made, our offense only had 193 like total yards or whatever. Well, our defense, if you want to add what they did for them, you could add another 120 to 130 more yards that the defense helped them with, turning that 191 into 291 into 330 yards of offense by virtue of the fact that Crowder ran that one back all the way to the 10-yard line. There's 60 yards you could add to the offense. And then the Kendall Fuller interception, well, hell, he brought it down to the 27. That adds another 50 yards to the offense. And then the third touchdown that we got was on a 4th and 3. Our defense stuffed Atlanta on that 4th and 3, and we got the ball back on our own 48, which is great field position. And then the offense only has to march down 52 yards and score the touchdown. So as we get into talking about our offense, I mean, our defense did the heavy work for our offense, who was pretty, if you heard me during the call in the game, was anemic. I mean, I hear people out there, kudos to the offense. Oh, they did great. Look how many touchdowns they scored. They only scored those touchdowns because of our defense and our special teams. They, if left on their own to go down 75 yards, they wouldn't have done it. By virtue of, look at that first drive that we had, drove all the way downfield and had to kick a field goal. You know what I'm saying? So even the rest of the game, if they didn't have those 3 defensive plays that helped them, would they have been able to continue to sustain those drives? Now, looking at the fourth quarter and those drives that we had the fourth quarter, you would say, no, they probably would not have been able to do that. And the score would have been vastly different. So kudos to that's all I'm saying is kudos to the defense for, it was 400 yards, but they were out there forever. They were out there. It was 3 and out on our offense, 3 and out on our offense. And we were running right back, the defense running right back down on the field again. And so even though they had 400 yards, they held them to only like 5 yards a play. That's not bad. That's including passing and rushing. So, to me, that's not bad. So, and kudos to our special teams all the way around. So, defense I thought was really good.
That punt return just really, I don't know, that was like a catalyst for the whole game.
It did.
It really did. Yep. So, about that offense, there seems to be, I was really surprised. I mean, kind of critical about the play calling.
Yes.
Once again,
Yep.
there just seemed to be, I mean, some part of me wants to go, why did we fire Scott Turner? Because we seem to be running some of the same offense, and in some ways kind of worse. I didn't see any, like Sam had one design run that was kind of cool, but it was just on a short play.
It was a
sort
fourth
of like
and
an
one,
RPO,
a critical play too.
Yeah, it was pretty critical, and he ran. But I was thinking, why anywhere in the game? Because he ran like 3 times for 7 yards. I mean, he's not a running quarterback, but the dude can run, man. And I know he gets flushed out and can run sometimes. But why not? I just don't know why they don't design early on, a play. We've talked about a million times. You run your receivers, your tight ends to a certain part of the field. You try and draw their safeties over, and Sam just runs to the left sideline, and he gains anywhere from 3 to 11 yards, and just make the defensive tackles, the safety, everyone just run all the way down to the end of the field, put it in their heads. Yeah. This guy can take off and run. Don't abandon your space. And not one long bomb.
Nope.
Why not early on just throw a rocket out there? Because look, 70% of the time it'll be incomplete. But 15% of the time will be pass interference, and the other 15%, the guy will catch it. You got a 30% chance of a monster play, not a good play. But at the end of the day, let your boy go back and show them his arm and the speed of your receivers. Let those safeties and DBs go, oh, man, hey, be careful. Don't let these guys get behind you because this guy can jack it up, But they just don't ever do that kind of stuff. And then they threw to Logan Thomas. That's my other complaint. They threw to Logan one time.
I know. What the hell was that?
I don't get it.
One target. No real screenplay action either.
No, thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, I was, I just didn't understand it. I mean, maybe they played us that way. Maybe their D said, like you talk about having a game plan, maybe their D said, just stick up on their tight ends and stay on top of those screenplays and let our DBs, they'll just have to cover naked back there. We're going to make sure they don't get any screens off on us, and we're going to nuke their tight ends. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. Yeah. And if that's the case, Terry did a great job because Terry got open. Terry made a lot of plays, and they have good DBs too, by the way. They're all 3 of their DBs are highly rated. So, but yeah, it was still, I mean, I don't think you just abandon something just because another team's good at stopping it. Right. I just don't feel like that's you just because still got to challenge winning. The other team, but exactly.
They're winning that. I said they're winning that because they go, oh, look, we scared them so much. They're not even trying now. Now we know we don't have to worry about that, and then they can concentrate more on other things. And that's why you stretch that. Even though they're playing against that, go ahead and do it anyways and keep them stretched out. And then they just go, fuck it. We don't even have to worry about this.
Yeah. Yeah, but no Logan Thomas, lack of a screen game was just weird. I don't know. It's just we'll see what happens. We'll talk next Saturday. We can talk about our strategy and what's going on with the Giants. But I think one thing we'll talk about is how can we get all of our weapons out there in many different kinds of ways? Because look at other teams, man. Other teams do it. Other teams use a lot of different ways to get guys in the open. And we're not talking about trickery. We're not talking about crazy stuff here either. This is a pretty standard issue as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So, but as far, the offense didn't run that well. I mean, we got some good runs.
That's what I was just going to say. Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Terrible run. I watched, like I said, I watched them all 22. Then I rewatched the game mostly to watch Sam, just to be honest with you, see what he was doing. And then I even watched a condensed video of just every throw that Sam had. Everyone, and even every sack too. I mean, every time we went back to pass, let's put it that way. So that was very interesting. So it's such a, it really highlights the frustration because he threw a lot of great passes, man. And he went back in the middle, that pocket players all around him. He looks and he just chucks some great throws, man, and put him in there. But then you saw all the sacks, all the coverage sacks. And that's just, it's right now, that's his downfall. But I guess the only thing I can say, it's bad. But, there's no turnovers. So a sack sucks, psychologically. We talk about the psychological. You go from it's 1st and 10, then it's 2nd and 17. That's hard to get around, but then it's still better than an interception. So I mean, in that regard, he's doing good. But man, it's frustrating to watch him.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He had a sack at a bad time. We got a 2nd and 17. I seen him throw some really bad throws too, throwing it at people's feet. And there was one late in the game. It was like a 3rd and something, and he just was in the shotgun and went back fast. I didn't look at that again, but he just like threw it right down into the ground, and I was screaming when we were watching the game, like, "What the fuck was that?"
I know. I went back and found out because I was thinking, what the hell happened there? So I went back and watched, and I figured it out. Here's what it was. It was 3rd and 20. Right. We were really back. I mean, we weren't on the 5-yard line, but we were back in our area. And what they decided to do was, look, we're not going to try and get a 25-yard throw here. They're going to be waiting for us. Right. So they weren't going to air it out. So what they were going to do is run a screen, just do a quick screen and, get 5, get 10 yards at least. So, give Tress a little more room. They played the field position game. Well, they had the play going. They designed the screen. He went, he looked, and there were like a defensive lineman and a linebacker were right there. I don't know if it was Antonio Gibson or B-Rob, but they sniffed it. They were there. And so instead of him running around, with trying to concoct something, he realized the play was dead and he just clocked it.
That's still a stupid play then. If that's what you're going to do, you might as well run the ball and then keep the clock fucking ticking. Right? Well, if you're going to do a play and it doesn't work, it stops the clock. And that was late in the game when we need it. And that's my other beep is some of these long throw on 2nd and 10 while the clock is trying to wind down. What the fuck are you doing? Just run the ball again and keep every time you throw and it's incomplete, it stops the clock. Just run it then. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but but he threw it right in the ground.
No, but I think right. But I think the other option was then the play was completely broken. Then he starts running around and they're swarming in anyway. Or then he gets out and he runs and then he's just, one of those things where you're running, hoping someone goes, to me, that's when problems happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got a broken play and then you're out and you're just trying to chuck the rock to someone. And it didn't look very good, but I didn't think it wasn't as stupid as I thought it was. Once I saw the situation, he was like, because they were telling him, look, we're not going for first down here. We're not going to put you in that position. So anyway,
but then the play call was shitty then, if you ask me. Then your play call was shitty. If you had no intention of making any fucking yardage whatsoever, well, then you might as well run the ball and ensure that you are using the clock up, especially that late in the game. And if you watch towards the end of that game, we couldn't keep the clock running for nothing. We had a 3 and out with and only chewed up 22 seconds on the fucking clock.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And then we had then combined with that was some weird timeout thing that we used where we didn't have to use it. I didn't understand what was going on there.
Terrible. Yep. I was freaking out.
Yeah, so
I lay all that on TV too. That's him trying them cutesy things like with fucking Curtis Samuel taking the one snap that time. Don't stop doing that fucking stupid stuff, especially late in the game. You're just trying to run the clock out. You're just trying to beat this team. And you're going 3 and out and punting. That second half, it was like all punts except for when Kendall Fuller got down to the 27-yard line. Everything after that was a punt. It was like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
5 plays punt, 3 plays punt, 3 plays punt, 4 plays punt. It was fucking horrifying, dude. And I would lay all that on EB. Every bit of it.
Yeah. That play with Samuel was kind of like, oh man, come on, dude. Don't, like we said, don't rely on like trickery and stuff. I mean, especially in that situation. I
Ugh,
mean, there's nothing wrong with that play, but at the
right.
time when you're not really doing anything, and boy, it didn't work.
No, time and place,
You know.
dude.
Yep. So yeah, I think I think actually speaking of Fuller, he actually had another interception that bounced off him.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He almost got another one.
But
Yep.
it came up on him. Yeah, it came up on him so quick. I don't think he was even ready. But so I mean, I guess the game plan was pretty right. They figured they could stuff the run.
Yep.
And I think they felt like they could, get some turnovers, but I felt like they thought they could control the game better. But Ritter used those weapons that they have, which they haven't been using only recently. I mean, there's games, they had a couple games where Kyle Pitts had like one target.
Yeah.
Guys, like you said, he's 6'6", he's a monster. So I don't know what the coach is thinking, but now all of a sudden he got those guys going, and man, they are pretty good weapons.
Yep. That's a good thing they
So
fucked up too. They did some stupid shit late in the game. They
boy,
spiked the
did they
ball to
ever.
stop the
Oh,
clock, and then they got back up to the line, and then they burnt another timeout. Ah, they just shot themselves in the foot too.
yeah.
So we get lucky in certain places as well. So you shouldn't. I don't like relying on
Yeah.
that kind of luck. I don't like relying on, oh well, he's not such a good quarterback, so we should win. Who gives a shit? You got to win whether the quarterback is good or not good.
Yeah.
You can't rely on that. That's not a good reliable thing. You have to rely on being a good team and winning no matter who it is. And so you can't count on the other team
Yep.
having injuries. You can't count on certain things like that. You just can't do it. And so I think we escaped with a win. I say escaped with a win because, again, our offense wasn't going to win the game for us. Our defense and our special teams gets the total win for that game. And so we can't keep doing that though. But that's our MO.
Yeah, it kind of is. But I think when EB came, we kind of expected a little more dynamics. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? A little bit more using all the weapons in different ways and stuff. And we just weren't getting it. And so, well, we'll
Yeah.
see. It is growing. It is, it's a new system. It's a new quarterback. So, I mean, I guess, really anywhere, when you look back in time with a lot of teams and a lot of quarterbacks, it just was never done in 5 weeks for
Right.
whatever reason. These things do take time,
Yep.
but boy, it is kind of frustrating. So,
Yeah. Like
well,
you
hey,
said,
it's a victory. We talked about it.
yeah.
Go ahead.
As long as we're trending up, you know what I'm saying? I don't really like that.
Yes.
If we're like up at the beginning of the season with a couple wins and down with a few losses and then start trending back up again, I can see the beginning of the year as like a training. Okay, you just got going, you struggled against a couple easy teams, and you lost to a couple hard teams. Then you shit the bed on the Bears, but now you pulled this one out and you look better. Are we going to look better? And it doesn't have to be 100% better. It just has to be 10% better. Are we trending upwards? That's really all I want. It don't need to set the world on fire, but it has to keep improving and not getting worse. So
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. And I think you can see that from both sides, but specifically here with Sam Howell in the offense has to get better.
has
So
to get better.
right on. Well, we got those filthy giants coming next. So
Yeah. And they lost.
yeah,
They could have beat the Bills. They did some stupid shit at the end of that game too. I mean, I don't know if you watched
stupid.
it. It was at the end of the game. They were
I
down.
did.
There was like a minute and something left, and they had a 3rd and 8, and they fucking threw it way down the field. And it was an incomplete. And
Yeah,
it brought up a 4th and 8,
I
and then they
know.
threw another long one down the field. I'm like, what are
I
you
know.
doing? You
I
got
know.
3rd and 8. Run the ball and pick up 3 or 4. And on 4th and 3 or 4, then run it again and get the first down or something. I was just
Yeah.
flabbergasted. Dude, I was actually cheering for him. I wanted to see New York
Yeah.
win. You know what I'm saying? And when you see stuff
Yeah.
like that coach should be shot. You know what I'm saying? That was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that was totally that. Yeah, that was shocking. I was the same way. That was. I'm telling you, man, that was sort of Norv Turner era Chargers. He would do that. Like it's like he got frustrated, and instead of going like it's hard, it's the end of the game, and you got to get going, and instead of hey, we can do a quick out here. We can quick out here. We do a quick play here. He's no, let's do this 38 yards. We'll go down here. We'll do a post route. No, like you're hoping and wishing. Boy, if we hit that 38-yarder, dude, we're in.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. And then the real bad one this was on their quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. He, I don't know. You remember at the beginning of the half, they had no timeouts, and he audibled to a run.
He was
up on the line. Yeah, he's up on the line, and he's like, goo, 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 goo. And I'm going, what the fuck's he audibling for? What's he going to audible to? You have no timeouts. There's 13 seconds. And he audibled out. He thought he saw something. Hands off. Runner gets stuffed, and then they're all running to Spike. Ran out of time. Had 2 shots in the end zone.
Dumbass.
And came away with nothing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I saw Daboll, the coach. He went to the offensive coordinator and was just like ripping him.
Yeah.
And then the offensive coordinator said something to him, which I think that wasn't a play.
Right.
He audible, because then Daboll looked at him like, oh, and then he went to the quarterback and just chewed him. But anyway, so they actually look better. So that's interesting to see, because they've looked like nothing but complete dog poop. Let's see if they can revert back to their old ways, but we'll talk about that next on Saturday.
Yep. Cool.
All right, man.
Good show, dog. Yeah.
Good job.
We'll see you all.
Yep. Hey, 3-3, man.
For the big preview. We're 3-3. Things look good. It's always fun when you win. So thanks, guys.
It sure is. All right. See you, everybody.